keep them on deck. We keep them on deck. We down here popping big bottles. Popping big bottles. Good. Good.
A big what's up to everybody. Welcome back to the channel. The Philadelphia 76ers have played 3 games since All-Star break has ended, and after morphing a new team, they're quickly finding out that the NBA life is not so easy when Joel Embiid is not on the court with you. Since the big man's injury, the team has gone 3-4 record-wise, not even to mention the fact that they have lost 11 games out of their last 15. Big yikes. With 25 games left in the regular season, can they somehow figure it out and find a groove before it is too late? I guess we'll see. In this video, we will be looking at the team statistically, taking a look at the scheduled road ahead, what I see from the new additions, break down the squad's last 25 games, and give my thoughts on what I'll be looking for as the season draws near the playoffs. And maybe, just maybe, we'll talk about Joel Embiid's health. Now that is a large undertaking, so without further ado, let's get to the video. So since the injury, I only looked at the time since February 8th, which was the day after the Warriors game where unfortunately Joel Embiid hurt his knee, but the team ranks in the middle of the pack for most statistical categories. I was going to go in and pick out some, but it just didn't make sense since they're basically smack dab in the middle. But the most important pieces is they are 20th in offensive rating, they are 19th in defensive rating, and overall they are 21st in net rating, which isn't good. That is a bottom of the half, if anything, a bottom third NBA squad. And if you look at the type of basketball that they play, they have legit become a run and gun offense, which fans have been complaining about not having the last few years. Be careful what you wish for, because now you see modern NBA offense sucks unless you have a fulcrum, like trash. Let's take a look at the last 3 games that the squad participated in, and unfortunately went 1-2 in. The first game was against the New York Knickerbockers, where we lost at home 110-96, and this was the first game after the All-Star break. The Sixers struggled most of this game, which was understandable since it was the first joint with Kyle Lowry added into the mix with the rest of the new gang. But it must be noted that Tobias and Batum failed miserably, killing momentum at the end of the game while the Sixers were making their comeback run, down 26. And this obviously pleased the anti-Tobias crowd to no end as they called for his head over the next 2 days. Now, y'all already know my stance on the situation about Tobias himself. Sure, yes, he is overpaid, but he stabilizes the offense come playoff time. And I mean, hey, he does help culture. You will be happy once he leaves in the off season, because he's probably not coming back. Game 2, Sixers versus Cavs. This was an away game where we won 104-97. Back and forth game, the usual NBA type thingy. Sixers took control around the end of the third, if I remember correctly. They definitely did almost give up the lead and try their best to really do so with like 2 minutes left. That's unorganized basketball, but they pulled out the W eventually. A lot in part thanks to Tyrese Maxey, who offensively exploded in the fourth. Good for the young boy. Now, for a Cavs team that has been hyped up in recent weeks as a Eastern Conference threat, them losing to the shorthanded Sixers twice in the last few weeks reeks of fraud-dumb. Again, I'm not scared of anybody in the East, not even the dreaded Boston Celtics, the bum Boston Celtics. The East is wide open. In Game 3, which just so happened to have occurred today, a Sunday matinee, where the Sixers got dog-walked, emphasis on dog-walked, against the Milwaukee Bucks 119-98. Though the final score was pretty bad, and believe you me, watching it was even worse, the Sixers definitely had multiple chances to make a real comeback, and they just missed easy, wide open threes, as well as a few layups. Does this concern me overall? No, because what are you finna expect when you're going up against Giannis and Dame with Tyrese Maxey as your best player? Just ask former Sixer Patrick Beverley.
Do you think management wants to win?
For sure. I mean, obviously, but I think they're looking to the future, not now, which is, how you got to look in this league, especially with the team makeup. A bunch of guys, a bunch of free agents coming up next year, so you understand it.
Unfortunately, Tobias didn't do himself any favors with his continuous struggle play, so, I mean, I'm not here to defend him. Overall, Maxey is becoming a leader right in front of our very own eyes. Like, he's mean mugging all over the place when he gets and ones, step back threes. He's cussing out refs, but most importantly is getting the Nick Nurse guard special, playing like 40 minutes every single night.
You wanted this, right? You wanted the real deal? That's what this is. Wake up, you're in the middle of it.
Looking at the new additions, they have been okay, I suppose. Kyle Lowry looks semi-washed in my opinion, but for real, his impact is not going to be shown during the playoffs, so I'm going to give him a break. Buddy Hield is either hot or cold, and Cam Payne is just there for the most part, and that's what it was going to be. The team wasn't going to be fully cohesive without Joel Embiid anyway, so I guess it is what it is. Now let's take a look at the schedule, the remaining 25 game schedule that is, and see what we can gather from it. According to Tankathon, one of my favorite NBA websites of all time, the Sixers have the 13th hardest schedule remaining in the league. So basically they're in the middle, but a bit on the harder side. Pause. So I mean, I guess they'll be battle tested. I don't know if this really helps though, especially since you hope that we have no more injuries. And if Joel Embiid isn't playing, does it really matter? Looking at the schedule itself, it doesn't look too daunting per se. You have a mix of playing good teams as well as bad teams, only 2 back-to-backs, and as well as 1 big road trip at the end of March, which is their annual West Coast jaunt. They will see their old friend James Harden on the 24th of that month, which should be fun. So, the most important part of the video. What are 3 things that I'll be looking for going into the rest of the season? With that being said, the first, and it's so obvious, the health of Joel Embiid, as there is no news yet that has come out regarding the Cameroonian big man's recent injury, meniscus tear. Goodness gracious. After surgery, the common consensus around the league, or at least around news outlets, Shams and Woj, it was stated that Embiid would be sidelined for at least 6 to 8 weeks, meaning about, doing the math conversion, meaning about 2 months. And if that's the case, since he did get hurt in February, this would mean, or at least should mean, that he would be back on the court somewhere in April, mid to late April, which just so happens to be a few weeks before the playoffs begin. Which I don't know, man. Will he even be in playoff shape by then? That's a lot of, work just to gear back up. And 2, what will chemistry look like with his new teammates, having not played with them, not having played with a Buddy Hield, etc. Yeah, it's just a whole cluster F. Number 2, do the Sixers need some dogs? Now, in previous years, we had players who were single-handedly able to hold the fort down with Joel Embiid when he missed games. And though Maxey is bull, no doubt, once again, I'm saying is bull, is the franchise, I just don't believe that he is there quite just yet to be a solo Batman. Is the team going to come together and step up as a unit, especially without someone like a Pat Bev who actually takes that role, cussing out players, getting them in organizational filed lines? Theoretically, we shall see. Which then somewhat ties into a 2A of what I'll be looking for. Is Nick Nurse really a good coach? I better not see us in the play-in. I'll just leave it at that. And number 3, record. To stay on pace as a top 5 seed, realistically, the Sixers would have to win about 55% of the rest of their games, which would be 14 games, which would then leave them at around 48 and 34, which in the last 2 years would leave them right at, 5th place. Can they do that? As I said, the road isn't that daunting per se. I guess you can pick your battles, but once again, this season, for all intensive purposes, is chalked since Joel Embiid isn't healthy, and when he comes back, he won't be fully 100%. So yeah, all in all, the Sixers have some work to do if they are going to avoid the plan at the end of the year. Now, they have made a few statements, winning tough matchups the past few weeks without Joel Embiid at the helm, but with their inconsistency and new pieces learning the offensive system with only 25 games left, I don't have any real proof to say that they'll be able to figure it all out in time. But let me know what you think. How confident are you in this team? I want to thank everybody for pulling up and listening to a brother think. Good looks for the 2.4K subs. I'm always appreciative of y'all. Yeah, I'll talk to y'all next time. Peace.